Well, folks, Tim Walz is going on a bashing fest right now. He is attacking the Harris campaign from 2024, claiming that they should have rolled the dice a little bit more in the 2024 election. But before we get into it, drop down below, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you never miss another video from us again. Now, Tim Walz going after the Kamala Harris campaign, no surprise. We all know Tampon Tim, he wants to run for president in 2028, and why? Who the hell wants him? I couldn't name 5 people within a 1,000-mile radius of where I am right now who wants Tampon Tim to be our next president. Not 5 people. Not even on a single hand. Tim Walz wants to talk about how they didn't, he thinks that they didn't have time to get their feet under them. No. You guys had the best chance to win with 107 days. That's it. If you guys were on the campaign trail for a full year, you would have completely embarrassed yourselves. It would have been way worse. You talk about you lost in a landslide already. You would have lost in an even bigger landslide if you would have had more time to completely embarrass yourself. Walz goes on to say that we shouldn't have been playing this thing so safe. He said that in an interview with Politico before he spoke with about 1,000 Democrats at the Helena Fairgrounds last week. The issue is that, he thinks that they need to reassess what did they do wrong. After you lose an election like this, you need to reassess what you did wrong. You need to take a step back. What did we do wrong? And you need to take ownership, for what you did. You need to reassess and then do something different. If you continue to do the same thing over and over again, it's insanity. By definition, you are insane if you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. He's emphasized that he has to own his part of the business because when you're on the ticket and you don't win, that's your responsibility, which he's 100% true with that. But the issue is that he's not doing a good job doing anything different. He wants to talk about, we need to reassess. We need to do things different. So what does he do? He goes on MSNBC. Here we go. He goes on MSNBC. He'll be on Gavin Newsom's podcast. And he was on a podcast with The New Yorker. What are you doing different? You talk about how you lost Trump. What did Trump do that you didn't do? He went on unscripted interviews. You guys did not do things unscripted. You went to traditional left-wing media outlets who were only going to treat you good. The one time Kamala Harris went on Brett Baier, Fox News. She showed up a half hour late. She cut the interview 15 minutes short. And it was a complete word salad. It was a complete disaster for the campaign. She went on 60 Minutes. They literally had to edit the entire thing and fabricate all of her answers because her answers made 0 sense. They did everything wrong. They pissed away $1.5 billion. That's how stupid these people are. They pissed away $1.5 billion and won 0 out of 7 swing states. This is someone on Dustin. I don't know how to say his last name. Is it Grady? I don't want to butcher his last name here, but he's a political commentator from Minnesota. He hit it on the nuts. So let me get this straight. Tim Walz says that they should have taken more risk and gone more places. Yet, Tim Walz, while he was in Congress for a decade, ditched town halls in his own district. When he ran for governor the second time, he skipped the first statewide debate in over 40 years against Scott Jensen. And he was the only governor this century to skip the Fishing Opener and Farm Fest, which if you're from Minnesota, you know it's a big deal for political campaigns. It's just what you do. And he skipped it. He wants to talk about rolling the dice, getting yourself out there, getting in interviews like this. Do it yourself. But this is no surprise from Tiny Tim Walz. It is really no surprise. We know Tampon Tim wants to run for president in 2028. He's going to do whatever he can to throw Kamala Harris and the Democrats and what they did under the bus and elevate himself. But here's a little reality for you, Tim. Nobody looks to you as a leader. You're a follower. You're a weak, pathetic leader. And I can't even call him that. You're a governor, so I guess you're a leader in some sense. But you're a follower. The only thing you're ever going to... There's 2 things that Tim Walz will be remembered for. And remember this forever. He was the worst vice presidential pick in modern history. You could almost say American history. He was the worst vice presidential pick in modern history. You look at what they did. Obama, very smart, intelligent guy. He's like, well, I don't want my vice president to outshine me, so you pick Joe Biden, a pretty really pretty dumb senator from Delaware. Then Joe Biden runs for president, and he has to pick someone even dumber than him. So who does he pick? He picks Kamala Harris, who was the worst vice president in American history. She had the worst poll-in as vice president in American history, not even close. It wasn't until the mainstream media elevated her to be the presidential nominee that she somehow got this manufactured enthusiasm behind her. But then what does Kamala Harris have to do? She's like, well, I don't want a vice president who's going to outshine me. So what does she go? We are at the bottom of the Democrat barrel right now. They're scraping at the bottom of the barrel. And what do they come up with the lard and the crap at the bottom of the barrel? You get someone like Tampon Tim Walz. So number one, he'll remember for being the worst vice presidential pick ever, no, hands down. Number two, and Kamala Harris is a close second, but they actually won in 2020, so you got to give her a little credit. But 24, he got demolished. He went on that debate stage with J.D. Vance, and he got demolished. It was insane. You're going to tell us he made friends with school shooters? Like, who is this guy? Yeah, the self-described knucklehead. The second thing he will be remembered for is for most likely having the largest plumbing bill in American history. You know why? Because Tampon Tim, you know where he got the name from? Because he put tampons in boys' bathrooms in the public schools in Minnesota. And so you know what? I was in high school not that long ago. What, 5, 6, 7 years ago? Who knows? But you know what a high school or a middle school boy does when there's a tampon dispenser in the boys' bathroom? They take the tampons out, they get them wet, and they probably whip them at each other. Or they take them and they put them down the toilet, and then you get a clogged toilet. So not only are you wasting money putting tampons in boys' bathrooms, with, by the way, I don't care if the YouTube algorithm hates that I say this and they don't push this video, but the reality is boys can't get pregnant. They don't have periods. Well, unless you're Tim Walz, maybe. Makes sense. But he was an absolute disgrace. He's a disaster. He's thrown the Democrats under the bus right now. We know he wants to run in 2028. At one point, he was this little-known Minnesota governor who was kind of this weirdo, but, supposedly was supported the Second Amendment. It wasn't super crazy radical liberal. But then, all of a sudden, he gets elevated to the vice presidential spot. They put a magnifying glass on him, and all of a sudden, you see how radical this guy is. He wants to give driver's license. He did give driver's license to illegal aliens. He allows Medicare in our state to provide coverage for illegal aliens. No. Why is it that Minnesota taxpayers are going to pay for illegal migrants who are in the country? Get them the hell out. If you're here illegally, get the hell out. It's as simple as that. I really did not expect Tim Walz to go this fierce, this quickly, and throw the Democrats under the bus. I at least thought he'd wait a year. He'd give it some time, let things settle down, and then start throwing them under the bus. But here we are. He's thrown Kamala Harris, and you know what? He probably has a right to do so. One of probably the worst presidential campaign in modern history. They went all in on Trump's a threat to democracy. He's the next Orange Hitler. And it blew up in their face. I'm not surprised at all. Drop down below, hit that subscribe button, like, share, subscribe for more. We'll catch you next time.